Well, the Burkina Faso military has yet again averted another attack that has come from the JNIM militants in the country. The JNIM militants are an Al-Qaeda affiliate group that has been causing havoc mostly in the northern part of Burkina Faso. But this time, the JNIM militants have threatened the capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, where, of course, the President Ibrahim Traore resides. In this video, I'm going to tell you about that particular attack and the security measures that right now we can see Ibrahim Traore has put up in the country to avert such a crisis. And of course, I'm also going to tell you about these militants who are causing havoc in Burkina Faso. Well, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on Burkina Faso, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, gunfire rang out close to the capital of Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, from the JNIM militants that have been causing havoc in different parts of Burkina Faso. These are an Al-Qaeda allied group that many are saying it is very difficult to separate this from the people who have been supporting these militants behind their backs. According to different sources, many are saying that these militants are not there just by chance, that there are some powerful forces supporting these militants to cause havoc in the alliance of the Sahel states countries, you know, the AES, the Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, that are now led by military rulers who have shown France the door and have welcomed Russia as their military partner in fighting the insurgencies in the Sahel. The Burkina Faso government on its own has been fighting these insurgencies for decades right now with the assistance of the French military. But for all this time, the French military have been in Burkina Faso. They have not managed to fight these insurgencies to the end. And that is the reason as to why Burkina Faso's military leader right now, Ibrahim Traore, saw it wise to go against the norms of the presidents that have been there in Burkina Faso and chose to go a different path, and that is through assistance by the Russian government, and of course reminding the Burkinabes and the entire Africans that the security of Africans is within the hands of the Africans themselves. And he opened the eyes of many Africans who have been doubting what has been happening in the continent. That is not by chance that there are very many rebel groups, very many militant groups in Africa, in different parts of Africa, fighting against the governments of the day. It is because there is an invisible hand somewhere that is supporting these militants so that there can be chaos in different governments in Africa as the Western countries continue to benefit from the chaos that is continuing in Africa. That is the same thing that Burkina Faso's president came out to denounce and say that it will not happen in Burkina Faso right now. And as you can see in a video right now, these are Burkina Faso military leaders celebrating the win that they had against the militants that threatened to take the Burkina Faso capital, Ouagadougou, and of course, take the entire government. The security of President Ibrahim Traore has been beefed up after these attempts by the militants and other groups in the country to take over power. Of course, the French are not seeing it as a good thing that they have lost a critical country like Burkina Faso that is well endowed with gold and other minerals. They are trying as much as possible to retake power in the country so that they can continue the business that they have been doing for a very long time in Africa. And so the Burkina Faso military has beefed up the security around the President Ibrahim Traore. And as you can see in a video that just came out hours ago, this is Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traore moving along a crowd that is cheering for him. Of course, many Burkinabes appreciate the work that Ibrahim Traore is doing in the country, despite the challenges that Burkina Faso is going through right now. The terrorism and other militants trying to take over power. The president of Burkina Faso has worked to ensure that, first of all, the Burkinabes feel proud of their own president across Africa. The president is revered. And also, the president of Burkina Faso has made sure that the capital, at least the capital, is 100% safe. And that is what the Burkina Faso military has ensured in the recent attack by the Jenim militants trying to take over the capital of Burkina Faso. And this attempt to take over the city of Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso comes also at a time when there have been alleged rumors of coup plotting in Ivory Coast. You remember Ivory Coast was the country that was mentioned by the Burkina Faso government, that this is where the planning of the attacks against Burkina Faso have been happening, that there are forces in Ivory Coast that have been assisting and welcoming plans to depose the president of Burkina Faso. And of course, the president of Ivory Coast was put at the center of all this because he is the president of the administration. He knows what is going on in his country. He perhaps has given the green light for these meetings to take place, for everything to happen. We know that the US Africa Command leader Langley was in Ivory Coast. They had a very candid conversation with the president of Ivory Coast. And these are the developments that many are seeing to say that there is some ulterior motives by the president of Ivory Coast, Alassane Ouattara, to depose the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, for benefits that are not well tied to only the president of Ivory Coast, but also to the Western allies that want a piece of the minerals in Burkina Faso. Well, I will continue to keep you informed of the latest of what is happening in Burkina Faso as well as the Sahel states and Ivory Coast. Keep it bona fide.